can already cartwheel, maybe you can already butterfly kick, and now it's time to learn the aerial. The aerial is basically a cartwheel with no hands, and it's super cool looking, very easy to learn, and let's get into the progression. Alright, Ninja Squad, what is going on? Welcome back to another video, Tricking Tutorial Summer 2022. If you're new to this series, then what's going on? I'm Matt, and I'm going to teach you guys how to do all sorts of flips this summer. So the aerial is basically doing a cartwheel with no hands, and like I said in the intro, it's actually really easy to learn. The only prerequisite I have is that you can already do the butterfly kick. So we actually covered the B kick last week, so if you haven't seen that tutorial already, make sure you pause this video, go back, check that one out, make sure you can learn it. It only takes like 5 minutes to learn, then come back to this video and you're ready to learn the aerial. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more basic to get into tricking, I also made this video right here. It's my intro to tricking tutorial, and I do have a broken down cartwheel progression. Again, super quick, like 60 seconds, it'll teach you how to do a cartwheel. So if you can already do a cartwheel and you want to advance it to doing it with no hands, then this is the video for you. Alright, so the aerial is actually a super fun trick, and you can use it to learn the A twist, but honestly, it's a really good connecting trick. And you don't need to know how to do the B kick for this, but if you can, it's going to make this so easy. So before we get started, make sure, give me a like if you find this video helpful, so I know I'm doing a good job. Subscribe so you don't miss another tutorial, because I've got them coming out every single Tuesday this summer. And make sure to type in the comments and let me know what tricking tutorial you want to see before the summer's over, because we only have a few weeks left. So let me know what you want to see and I'll make it happen. All right, let's start with the progression. Okay, so step number 1, make sure you can do a cartwheel. All right, I want you to be able to do a cartwheel and a B kick for this, but we're going to start with the cartwheel. So step number 1, do a cartwheel. I recommend being comfortable enough doing a cartwheel that you can do it with maybe one hand already, but if not, then you're going to learn how to do that today. Okay, step number 2, you're going to speed up the cartwheel. So if it's easier for you to walk into this, then I recommend doing it. I probably wouldn't run into this. I actually don't recommend running into this one, because you might get a little bit too much forward momentum and it's going to take away from your height. So I recommend either standing or walking into your cartwheel. Step number 2, speed it up. All right, so once you feel comfortable walking or standing into a sped up cartwheel, again, we're just trying to make the connection a little bit faster. So it should be hand, hand, foot, foot, kind of quickly. We're ready to move on to step number 3. So step number 3, you're going to learn how to do a one-handed cartwheel. Now you have 2 hands, so the first step we're going to do is start with a close-handed cartwheel. So in my case, since I cartwheel to the left, my first hand that I touch down is my close hand, and that is my left. So I'm going to do a one-handed cartwheel just using my left hand. So if you need to put down both hands first, that's fine, but gradually start taking that right hand away, or if you do the opposite way, the second hand. Keep practicing until you are able to do a one-handed cartwheel just using your close hand. Okay, once you can do that, it's time for step number 4. Step number 4, we're doing one-handed cartwheel with the far hand. So again, for me, since I cartwheel to the left, my second hand or my far hand is going to be my right. So again, one-handed cartwheel, gradually take that first hand away until you're only putting the far hand down. Now, a big tip for this is you're going to need to start using some leg drive. So really kick that back leg up and over. Use that front leg to push off a little bit. Get yourself more height, because the higher you go, the more time you're going to have in the air to do the rotation. All right, so if you can do that, then we have finished the cartwheel progression, and this is where we start to use the butterfly kick technique to learn the aerial. So basically, you want to make sure you can already do a B kick. So first step, make sure you do that. All right, so in order to turn this into an aerial, we're still going to use our one-handed far hand cartwheel, but we're going to start to incorporate the butterfly kick into it. So in order to do this, you want to think about, instead of maintaining a super flat horizontal axis like we talked about in the B kick tutorial, right? Because if you're doing a butterfly kick, you want to be super flat like a pancake. Instead of doing that, you do want to invert it. All right, now like I said in that tutorial, this is one of the most common mistakes that people make when they're learning the butterfly kick, is they start to invert it a little bit. So if you're doing a B kick, don't do this, but if you're trying to learn an aerial, this is how you're going to do it. So you're going to do the same setup, and you're going to go into your butterfly kick, but you're going to do a one-handed cartwheel out of it. Okay, now if you need to, you can still put both hands down, because we're kind of combining 2 moves here. But gradually, you want to get comfortable where you can do it and just put the far hand down. All right, so now you can do the butterfly kick setup, which means the dip, and then go into a one-handed cartwheel. The last step here, guys, is to take away the dip. So remember, the butterfly kick, we want to have a nice chest dip and kind of scoop down and then back upwards into the trick. And that's because we're trying to maintain a nice, tall, like flat orientation. But for the aerial, you want your head to stay lower than your legs. So we're not actually going to do a dip. We're going to go downwards into it. So we're gonna do the same exact setup, but this time, instead of doing the dip, you are going to pull yourself down. Look towards that bottom foot. In my case, it's my left foot. Look towards that foot, pull downwards in a diagonal motion, and still lift up with that back leg. This is gonna give you that inversion that you need to, but by kicking up with that back leg and driving through that front foot, you're gonna be able to get the height that you need to do the trick. All right, and then once you can do that, from there is a simple progression of slowly waiting as long as you can to put that hand down, all right, until you don't need to use it at all. Your goal is to get your foot all the way around to the ground before you even have a chance to put your hand down. Okay, so just practice waiting as long as you can, gradually increasing the time that you don't put your hand down until you realize that you landed on your foot first. And there you have it. You guys just learned your first aerial, right? Your cartwheel with no hands. Again, you can do this from a walking setup or you can do it from standing. I personally prefer to do it from standing. Now, the way I do it is a little different because I kind of hook my left foot at the end sometimes. Again, this is a trickers aerial, not a gymnastics aerial. So if that's what you came to this tutorial for, sorry to disappoint. But if you weren't disappointed, then make sure you subscribe and check out my most recent video right here. I also put a link to the rest of the tricking tutorial playlist if you want to learn any of those this summer. Again, make sure you comment down below what you want to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.